What if your body reveals dementia before your brain does? Before your memory slips or confusion starts, something unusual begins to occur. Not in your words, not in your thinking, but in how you move. Subtle, unsettling changes in posture, expression, and physical actions, the kind most people overlook until it's too late. That's because, long before dementia becomes obvious, it quietly interferes with the regions of the brain that guide your body's nonverbal cues. And if you pay attention, the warning signals are right there in front of you. In this video, you'll learn about unsettling body language signs that might be the brain's earliest plea for help, long before memory loss sets in. Let's get started. Before we dive in, if you care about staying ahead of the curve on crucial health topics, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. This way, you'll never miss our latest science-backed health tips. If you're already part of our community, thank you. Gloria, 74, would often sit quietly at the kitchen table, staring at the same corner of the room without blinking. Sometimes she did this for minutes. Her husband once waved a hand in front of her face, and she barely responded. At first, they joked about it, but soon, Gloria began missing appointments and losing the thread of conversations. 2 years later, she was diagnosed with Lewy body dementia. This strange fixed stare is a known early sign of visuospatial disconnect. It's not just daydreaming, it points to disturbed attention and processing in the occipital and parietal regions. These are the parts of the brain responsible for visual perception and orientation. A clinical study linked extended gaze fixation in older adults with early symptoms of Lewy body and Parkinson's-related dementias, often showing up well before clear cognitive decline. Mark, 76, was watching a funny movie with his granddaughter. The whole room broke into laughter, but Mark just stared blankly. Then he grinned, 5 seconds later. This delay became more noticeable. Smiles, frowns, surprise, all arrived late or sometimes not at all. He was diagnosed with early Alzheimer's disease within 3 years. This kind of delayed or missing facial reaction is linked to early frontal lobe decline, where emotional recognition and expression take place. The person still feels emotions, but the brain struggles to send a signal to their face, causing a mismatch between what's happening and their response. A study found that early-stage Alzheimer's patients often showed reduced facial expression in social settings, even before memory loss becomes clear. Diana, 71, had always been calm and composed, but she began constantly rubbing her fingers together, disrupting conversations. Later, she started waving her hands and tapping her leg in quiet environments. When asked about it, she said she hadn't even realized. As her actions grew more rigid, her doctor confirmed a diagnosis of frontotemporal dementia. These repeated gestures aren't just digital, they reflect motor disinhibition, a failure in the brain's ability to suppress unnecessary motions, often caused by frontal lobe and basal ganglia decline. Research shows that repetitive motor behavior, especially involving the hands, is a key early sign of frontotemporal dementia and Parkinsonian syndromes. Leon reported he began to develop a minor tic, a shoulder shrug or neck twitch, that appeared randomly during the day. It wasn't painful and didn't seem to bother him, but it became more visible in social situations. His family assumed it was just a nervous habit, but as time passed, Leon also started forgetting faces and struggling with simple activities. He was eventually diagnosed with Parkinson's-related dementia. These small, involuntary actions are signs of early motor system disturbance, usually affecting the subcortical regions that manage posture and movement. The brain begins to send partial or faulty messages to the muscles, resulting in repetitive, aimless twitches. A recent analysis showed that slight motor tics, especially in the anterior neck, can indicate early neurodegenerative changes, even before tremors or stiffness occur. Helen, 78, had always moved gracefully, but her daughter noticed she started walking strangely, upright and stiff, with no arm swing. She sat in chairs without readjusting or shifting, almost like a mannequin. At first, we blamed arthritis. But when Helen also started showing signs of confusion and slower thinking, further tests revealed early movement-related dementia. This kind of stiff posture and lack of smoothness results from impaired motor control, due to early injury to the basal ganglia and brainstem pathways, which help manage automatic movements and balance. A major study found that reduced arm swing, stiffness, and robotic posture can appear years before any formal cognitive symptoms, especially in Parkinsonian and movement-related dementia cases. Are these insights helping you spot the signs early? Let us know. Type 1 in the comments if you're finding this video helpful, or 0 if not. Your feedback truly helps us improve and serve you better. Terry, 73, stopped making eye contact. During conversations, he glanced away, stared past people, or looked down. His wife believed it was shyness or tiredness, until he stopped recognizing familiar faces and withdrew even more. 3 years later, doctors diagnosed him with Alzheimer's disease. Loss of eye contact is more than just a social change. It often signals early dysfunction in the temporal parietal junction, crucial for social attention, empathy, and facial processing. The brain starts losing its automatic urge to connect. Research shows that early-stage dementia patients often display less gaze engagement, especially during emotional exchanges, even before others notice. Marsha, 75, developed a habit of blinking quickly in social settings, sometimes blinking 20 times in a row when feeling mild stress. Her doctor ruled out dry eyes or drug side effects. Over time, Marsha's blinking became more frequent, and she struggled more with focus and attention. 5 years passed before doctors identified it as early frontotemporal dementia. Too much blinking is often linked to neurological overstimulation, especially in frontal lobe decline, where the brain struggles to manage emotional reactions and motor impulses. These tiny actions become exaggerated when control centers weaken. A recent report found that abnormal facial tics and color changes can appear early in cognitive diseases, especially in types that affect motor and emotional control. If you're still with us and eager for more essential health tips, drop a 1 in the comments to let us know you're following. And don't forget to hit that like button to support our community. Mouth movements without talking. Alvin, 79, began to move his mouth, opening and closing, puckering, or chewing, even when he wasn't eating or speaking. His daughter noticed it happen during quiet times, like reading or watching TV. When asked, Alvin didn't realize he was doing it. Just a year later, his behavior grew more unpredictable, and doctors confirmed early Alzheimer's disease with movement symptoms. These unconscious mouth movements are tied to automatic motor patterns, which occur when the brainstem and subcortical motor circuits begin to misfire. These loops usually go unnoticed by the person, but point to early cognitive confusion. Studies suggest that oral automatisms, repetitive, pointless mouth movements, are a subtle but important early sign of neurodegeneration. Smiling or laughing at the wrong time. Wanda, 72, started reacting to emotional moments in unsettling ways. At a friend's funeral, she giggled. When told serious news, she smiled awkwardly. Her family felt embarrassed and puzzled, but Wanda wasn't trying to be rude. 7 years later, she was diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia. This unusual behavior is known as emotional disinhibition. When the brain loses its filter between emotion and expression, it's caused by damage to the orbital frontal cortex, which normally blocks socially inappropriate reactions. Medical studies suggest that inappropriate laughter, grinning, or smiling is a strong behavioral sign of frontotemporal dementia and can appear years before memory symptoms. These body language changes may seem small, but they're not. They are physical evidence that the brain is beginning to lose control. Before memory loss shows up, the earlier these signs are noticed, the more chance there is to respond, seek help, investigate further, and possibly slow what's happening beneath the surface. And there you have it. We'd love to hear from you. Which sign surprised you most? Or have you noticed any of these in yourself or a loved one? Drop your thoughts, questions, or experiences below. Your comments truly inspire us to keep sharing these vital health tips. Don't forget to pause for a second, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a breakthrough health update. Share this video with anyone you care about. Your support helps us reach and help more people.